as a baby?
He was a charming little baby.
What are some of your funny memories of my dad as a kid? Or of learning how to be a dad?
What I thought was so cool is that he just loved everybody.
Very friendly kid?
He got along with everybody. Well, like some of those pictures. He met these people that were like Down syndrome and all kinds of people that were living in this halfway house right across the driveway. They loved him. They're looking out for him. And Patty was worried about it. Said, these people are really nice. Don't worry about it. They love Eric. And they did. They looked out for him. And if he'd walk away too far away from the front of the house, they'd bring him over and say, "You little boy, you." But they were really.
So what do you mean by halfway house? Isn't a halfway house for people that are on drugs?
It was it was probably more of a.
So they were getting services.
Yes.
But they were in the community.
So they were more like
more like
developmentally
disabled.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really sweet people. Some of them probably were not sweet, but most of the ones I ran into were really nice. They looked after him, and he was real outgoing, and he just motored around, and all my friends loved Phil Gaines, used to come over quite a bit when we were at the duplex, and
Bill Brewington
would come over, and they just loved him, and he just loved hanging out, and he just loved showing people what he could do and what he'd learned, and he'd read to them, and it was just really cool.
That is cool.
I loved it.
So what about some of your favorite memories of being a dad, like with Echo and Jen and Jess? Like, because you probably weren't there for them being born.
Right.
I don't know if you were there for Echo's.
No, I wasn't.
But maybe some of your first memories about them.
Unfortunately, one of my first memories about Echo was when she took her diaper off in the crib and smeared her poop all over the walls.
Was that right after you adopted
we got her, yeah.
Do you remember my mom's iconic scream at that point?
No, I don't.
Oh my God, she's eating it! I still remember. I didn't know what was going on in there, and that's all I heard my mom scream from the other room. And I didn't know who was eating what. But when I walked in the room, it was like, oh, oh.
Yeah, the story is documented forever.
That's all I remember from that.
But I do remember it was the Christmas before my sister got killed when we went up to Anchorage, and she asked me when we were having a few beers or something before dinner, and she said, I'm not married, and if there's something ever happened to me, would you take Echo? Oh, sure. Echo was young, and
you thought what could happen to Judy?
What could happen?
Yeah.
Well, something happened. It didn't take very long after that.
And that was 70. That would have been Christmas of '77, right?
Uh-huh.
And she died in '78.
Yeah.
In like
That's very
May of
foreboding.
'78.
Yeah.
And you found out when you were in law school at the time, right?
Yes. Yeah. I got a call and said, you need to come up. Judy got killed by a drunk driver. And, I've got Echo. It was my mom.
The story I remember was that you were in finals of your first year.
I was, and they weren't going to call me until after it was over.
She was in a coma.
Yeah.
And then they said to Judy, when they got a hold of you, Jimmy's coming, and then she died. That's what I remember.
That's what I was told. Yeah. So, and then I got up there, and I was over at my mom's, and the bio dad called, who was from somewhere in maybe California or someplace, and had a really long Ukrainian name or Polish name or something. Told me, I heard Judy died, or he called my mom and wanted to talk about coming to get Echo. So my mom handed me the phone, and I said, "This is Jim. This is Judy's brother." So I wanted to make arrangements to come up and get Echo. So my sister asked me last year if something happened to her, if I would take, her daughter, take Echo. And I promised her I'd do it, and I intend to. He says, well, she's my daughter. I said, well, no proof of that. Well, I could prove it. I said, well, pack a lunch. See you in court. That's the last I ever heard from him. So that's how I got Echo.
What was your relationship with your sister like?
All the way, growing up, we were just thick as thieves, we're just like brother and sister, and hung out together, did stuff together. All the kids in the neighborhood, we all played together. She was 2 years younger than me, so as I aged, I thought she was kind of a punk. The older I got, the less I hung out with her. But she had her own friends, but as far as at home and our relationship, we got on great, like brother and sister. And then she, through high school and everything, she was just a couple of years younger, and we do things together, but not a whole lot. The best way to describe that is, but we're never on the outs. We always got along.
And she was a pretty free spirit, wasn't she?
She was. And then as she aged, she got even to be more of a free spirit, which is kind of different, but, we just got along great. We talked a lot. She married this guy named Lynn, who was a dingbat.
Was this before or after Echo was born?
This is before.
Okay.
Yeah. She married him, and we went to the wedding, and I didn't like him. My mom didn't like him. So, she ended up being married to him for less than a year, and they never had kids. And she found this guy when she was working up at Mount McKinley. And they had a brief relationship while she was up there, and she got pregnant. So they never had anything going. He was just a sperm donor, basically. So that's why I didn't feel too bad about telling him to buzz off.
And the virizer that was involved in all of Send Echo presents every year, she was the mom of the guy who was dating Judy when she died, right?
Right. They were living together.
Yeah, and she sent...
He was a real nice guy.
Well, she would send Echo a Christmas gift. I mean, she sent her a Christmas gift for like 15, 20 years.
Wow, that's really sweet.
Yeah, and I don't know if she ever... what's that?
Even after we moved in this house.
Yeah, I don't know if she ever, met her or anything like that, but she just...
I don't either.
Every year, virizer would have a gift for Echo. And I could say, who's this again?
I had to ask her about, she maintained contact with her after.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember every year we'd get a package.
Mm-hmm.
What about Jen and Jess? Growing up, or any stories about them?
I think Jen and Jess needed a father figure, and they were cute little kids, and both Eric and Echo were pretty much grown-up kids. So they kind of latched on to me, and we got along really great. I thought we had a good relationship for years and years and years. And they were cute kids, and everything was really going well. And then all of a sudden, Jennifer started having troubles even in her, junior year maybe? Or senior year? Where she just didn't want to do the work, She just didn't want to get anything done. And so we had some issues with her. Jessica was real, she's fired up, and she went all the way through, and she was well in school, and they both were athletic, and it just was pretty normal. And then it's been kind of weird the last few years, I would have to say. But they were good kids.
And they pretty much, I mean, as far as a blended family goes, it just kind of clicked right away, didn't it?
Oh, I thought it did. Yeah.
How old were they when you adopted them?
You know that one, hon.
Yeah, 10 and 8.
10 and 8.
That's a good story about the day of the adoption, too. Neil Riley did it, right?
Yep.
And we were there, I remember.
Yeah. Steve Hughes did the.
That's right.
That was a fun day.
Yeah, it was a fun day because both Steve and Neil have great senses of humor, and they both had them on display that day. Yeah.
The girls both got to take the stand.
Yeah, they got to testify.
Yeah.
What did they testify?
Oh, about you want to live with this reprobate, that sort of thing. It was pretty funny. It was an amusing, enjoyable time.
Yeah, I remember. It was a fun day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your favorite memories of being a grandpa?
Wow.
So we got some of them of being a dad.
Mm. Wow.
You and Claire up at Twin Lakes has to be a highlight.
Yeah. Yeah, that is one of the highlights. Just going up there and enjoying time up there was always fun.
Do you have any particular moments at Twin Lakes that were memorable?
I don't know if there's any necessarily specific times. I just remember the kind of general aura of watching you guys just having fun with everybody and everybody enjoying you and all of us just hanging out. You know, the big pictures that we've
Okay, I
got.
have a snake.
Yeah, the snake.
I don't think so.
Somebody have a snake?
Grace had a snake.
Do you remember
Oh,
that kind
yeah.
of snake and it peed on me?
Yes.
And you caught your first fish with Dick and had to kiss it. I remember
Yeah.
the picture of that.
And I remember always going through Hunter and having to get ice cream.
Oh,
That was always very fun.
we still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love those trips up. That was a blast.
I'm gonna think of
They're just hanging out, enjoying everything. I can't think of anything, other than we'll talk about specific, but just this general joy of just hanging out,
Yeah, definitely.
watching you play with the other kids, and having some alone time.
Hmm. I remember you always making breakfast and trying to wake up early enough to help you.
Yeah, I still cook breakfast. That's my job.
Yeah, that's your
That's my thing,
Job.
my shtick.
I remember you telling me how you would listen. You'd try to sleep really lightly so you could hear Grandpa and you could wake up and hang
I
out
tried.
with him and make breakfast.
It wasn't often successful.
right. You were a kid. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Any other fun grandpa memories? I know I'm the oldest, so I got the most.
Yes, you did.
I'm spoiled.
Let's see.
Probably having a namesake was pretty special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Grandma Grace.
No, I meant James. You getting a name, like you were the namesake for him.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably special as a grandpa.
Right. Yep. And you being Grace from my Grandma Grace, who was
Yes.
one of my favorite human beings in the entire world.
One of mine, too.
Oh, she was so sweet.
She was sweet, but she was also a pistol.
She was. Oh, yeah.
Tiny little pistol.
Yeah. She had not a thought unspoken. She. I loved her so much.
She was awesome.
Yep. So, you being named after her is. I'm reminded of her every time I think of you.
Oh, that's cute. I'm glad.
If she'd had an opportunity to, part of the interesting thing is that back in my parents' days and my grandma's days, there weren't a whole lot of opportunities for women. And, my mom went to beautician's college and was a beautician. But, back then what they really were supposed to do is work until they could get married. And then they weren't supposed to work. They were supposed to raise kids.
Right.
And that's exactly what she did. And Grandma Grace, her husband passed away, and then she married Kenneth, who my dad hated, and I didn't particularly like. But she she decided she was going to work. That's why another reason I admired her is because back in the days when women didn't work much, she went to work for the post office. And that's how I got all these just books and books worth of stamps. She'd send me stamps all the time. I was a stamp collector. But she was just a bit of an iconoclast for a person from that age.
Yeah.
You know, which I really appreciated about her. And my mom's parents and her family were all in Nebraska, and I rarely saw them. They had an interesting history, though. They emigrated from Germany just prior to the war. So they got a lot of bullshit about being Krauts, you know, at a time when we were in World War II. And my mom had expressed concerns about having to go to an internment camp. So they did it to the Japanese, and they were thinking they were going to do it to the Germans too. And her whole family, her 11 brothers and sisters, you know, having to go to internment camps.
When she was a kid, she worried about this?
Yep. And of course they never did, but it's because they look like Americans.
Right.
Right.
It's hard to round them up that way.
Orientals.
Yeah.
Look like Japs. So, see, they dodged that bullet, but, you know, everybody I've met in her family's just been delightful. But there's so many of them. There's 12
Yeah.
kids. Crap.
What was her maiden name?
Grone. Grone.
That sounds German.
And
Yep.
Grace, is Schmidt her married name?
Yes.
And that was her first husband or second husband?
Second.
Okay.
First was Woodard. And
Wait, what?
There's only one known picture of him that I.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I have it in my office hanging up.
Of Woodard, of your
Van.
Of
grandfather?
Van Woodard, yeah.
Really? Did he die young?
Yes. He was quite young. And nobody. I wish I would have sat my grandma down and talked to her about this stuff, like you're doing to me. Because, you know, there's so many questions I have. You know, my thing that I wrote about my dad and getting a clap and being sterile and take all of that stuff.
Oh, that's why your parents couldn't have kids?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, when he was, you know, in his teens, he got it. So, yeah, he and Byron rode the rails from, Byron was Patty's dad.
Yeah, I read that part of it.
Yeah.
So, I just have one more question about STDs before we move on.
I have never had an STD.
No,
That's your question.
That was not my question. My question was, since it was his problem that couldn't have kids, was your mom ever resentful of him for that?
She never expressed it, no.
Okay.
I think she was more resentful of him just catting around.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean,
There's a
that was
chance
related to
that
it.
he's related. They look so much alike. Their voices were alike. I still think there's more of that story.
Interesting.
I've heard that from somebody. I don't remember who.
Cousin Patty thinks that too.
Why would they say
So
you're
does she
adopted
think
if you
that?
weren't?
Does she think that?
No.
Well,
He
we
might have
have
been
some
the fruit of a relationship that shouldn't have been.
With a woman named Caldwell who had me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
And
I
is
never
that
heard
just pure
before.
speculation, or is there any evidence?
No evidence that I know of.
But we couldn't. I mean, if we had his DNA, we could figure that shit out. But we don't.
Yeah, but I don't have
You
any
can-
idea where she is or. I don't.
But Patty thinks that if she got her DNA done, and you had your DNA done, they could look for those alleles to see if they were related.
If who? Me
You
and
and
who?
Patty.
You and Patty.
Patty.
Huey.
Patty Huey. To see if you were biologically related.
Oh.
Because Preet and Jen
Oh,
were
yeah,
brother
yeah.
sister.
Right.
That's true. Has Patty done the 23andMe thing?
I don't know.
Boy, that'd be a revelation, wouldn't it?
I would.
You actually.
That would change your whole self-conception.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. It doesn't change much for me because I don't really care.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, he was my dad and she was my mom, and It doesn't matter if I'm blood or not. They raised me and they give me my values, and so it really doesn't matter. I kind of don't care.
You
It
always
might be a
felt,
little scandalous, though.
but
I'm
people,
so old I don't give a shit.
but the people who it would scandalize are all dead. So.
That's right.
It'd be kind of cool, though, because you'd be learning something about your parents after they're dead. So you'd be learning something new about them.
It'd almost be a little bit more interesting just to say my dad. I mean, if you were related to your dad, he's like, no, I'm gonna make sure I take him, and he doesn't get adopted anywhere else. I mean, it wouldn't be that much different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't suppose that's possible.
Well, if you look at pictures of the two of you, the eye color, your ears, the shape of your ears, the shape of your jaw, your voices, there's just an awful lot of really unique things that they had in common.
Interesting.
Hairline. Hope this doesn't make it on the film.
Grandpa was covering it. They couldn't see it, and they'll always wonder what wasn't on
The
film.
dogs are humping.
Well, now you said it. It was gonna be our secret. Okay, so any other favorite memories of being a grandpa with the younger grandkids?
Oh, wow. It's been fun watching the little boys play sports. Mac has gotten a little intense about it, in my taste, and he thinks being able to throw a curveball at his age is really a great idea, even though he can't seem to get it over most of the time. But it's not my job to tell him. You know, now Derek's out of it, so maybe would accept a little bit more input than he would accept before. But
He'll love watching this when he's 25.
right. Watching you know, I mean, it's just been fun watching Claire in her plays, and it's been fun watching you and your volleyball, and I mean, it's just, yeah, it's all been delightful. Not real special memories, not like winning state or anything like that. That doesn't matter. It's just so much fun watching you guys have fun. That's what really is the best thing about it for me. Because you were a good volleyball player, but you weren't a great volleyball player. But
That's
you
true.
really had a good time.
That's
And
true.
your teammates loved you, and you loved playing, and that's what it was all about.
Yeah.
And the same with Claire. I mean, she just loved doing her plays, and they were fun to watch, and it was great to go down there. And so nothing really special except just there's nothing much better than watching your grandkids have fun.
That's true. What's your favorite and least favorite technological innovation that occurred in your lifetime? I'm curious about this one.
Darlene's over there. She just said, "Oh my God!" I don't know if you heard that. But...
I did.
I just wanted to-
For the camera, yeah.
Technological innovation. Probably the iPod.
That's your favorite?
Well, that's what we're listening to right now.
Okay.
You know, I'm kind of a, you know, I work on the computer, and I had to learn to work on the computer. But I'm so disgusted with social media and all that shit that I don't even want to be involved with it. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's dangerous, really, in my estimation. So, you know, I'm glad I learned how to use a computer and do emails.
And fantasy baseball.
And fantasy baseball. That's been a blast.
2 years in a row, champions.
That's been good.
So your favorite is the iPod, your least favorite is social media.
I hate social media. I will not be a part of that.
What thing do you hate about it?
I don't like self-aggrandizement at all.
Okay. Well, yeah.
And that's what it's all about, social media. And I don't really give a shit. I don't want to see people's selfies. I don't care. I don't want to see anything.
To a great extent, I noticed you didn't like self-aggrandizement. You would always check me whenever I looked in the mirror. You'd be like, "You see something you like there, son?" You know. So even to this day, I still am a little leery of looking in the mirror, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But the idea is, you've always been somebody who's like, know your place, know your role. You're not any more special than anybody else, and don't think you are.
And I think that's lost on a lot of the people today.
I agree.
They just think that shit doesn't stink, and they think that everything they say is important. They think they can lie with abandon, and they can make up stories, and they can
make up whole personalities.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, I just want to stay away from that. I'm never going to ever be involved with that.
Well, you were.
I was on Facebook. I never posted anything.
You didn't. But I'm just saying, you had an account.
Well, I did
Chester
have an
Barkley.
account.
For work,
Yeah.
I think.
Yes. It was for work.
It was for work. And then once I quit working, I got rid of it. I don't have it anymore. I am on Facebook, I admit, but I'm only on for the Humane Society because that's how we get our information.
So do you have an account?
Wow, that's a revelation.
A secret account?
Well,
Double secret password.
I guess I do because I get emails or I get posts from the Humane Society, but that's the only thing I get.
They email it to you from Facebook? Or
Yeah.
you go on Facebook and then?
No, it's
You get
emails.
Facebook Messenger.
Oh.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's all right that we're not friends.
So I'm a technological midget. I'm not friends with anybody.
I know, I'm just kidding. What is your favorite age or stage in life? Or like your favorite so far?
Wow. Boy, that's a good question. There's been so much good about every part of my life. Man, that's hard.
What was the question?
What was his favorite age or stage in life?
What a hard question, honey.
Yeah. I would have to say that.
I would have to say that it's been since I've been married to Grandma Dar.
Aww.
Because it's been, I was done with high school, college, law school, and I was able to just do more or less what I wanted to do.
Financially independent.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
And it included becoming a grandfather many times over.
And
a great grandpa.
And a great grandfather.
What's been the best part of being a great grandpa for the 2 months? Can't forget Aspen.
Now, I don't know quite what to think about that. It's cool, but it's, I just think that neither one of them are ready to be parents. I think that I feel kind of bad for Echo. I mean, she's really happy about it, which I think is good. But, when you look at it, step back and look at it, you got two people that neither one of them are working. And, I don't know if he's got any plans. He doesn't have any motivation, it doesn't seem like to me, to go do anything. He doesn't have an motivation to be educated or to, get a specific job of any kind, and neither does she. So I just wonder if they're just kind of adrift with a baby.
Do you relate
now,
to
Echo
that
and Robert
sentiment?
are adrift with a baby, with a grandbaby.
to say, don't you think that the fact that that somewhat parallels what your early life was and how you grew up so quickly because you had a baby, that you...
But I don't see them doing that.
Right, so...
Because I wanted to go get educated. You know, I mean, I went through college with a baby. I went through, you know,
I was just
law
thinking,
school with a child. I mean, I don't see them being motivated like I was to get, because I was a somewhat of a ne'er-do-well, and I just once Eric was born, I just thought I kind of put one foot in front of the other, but I always had a job, but I just wanted to better myself, and so that's why I used to drive cab. I would take Eric to daycare. I would go to I'd take my classes, then I'd sign off of driving the cab. Then when I got out of my class, I would sign on. I would pick up some fares, and then I would sign off, and I'd go to another class, and then I would go pick up Eric and take him home, and then I'd go back out and drive, and I mean, it was work.
Yeah.
But I was motivated, and I don't see them being motivated like that to make things work and to make money, and I mean, they seem to have it pretty. Echo and Robert seem to be taking care of him, but Echo and Robert don't want them for working either. So, I don't know.
So you're a little worried. Is what I hear.
I'm not so worried about Echo. I think Echo, I mean, she's trying to get her shop opened up.
I saw on Facebook today or yesterday she got it open.
Good.
She's going to be.
It opens in a week. Yeah.
Yeah, it opens in a week. Yeah.
Echo's been motivated. She does a good job. She works hard.
Likes her clients. Likes
her,
what she does.
Yeah, and so I don't worry about her. I just worry about people taking advantage of her. We don't have the same motivation
I
that
didn't
she
think
has.
about it that way.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
Robert's not working.
I mean, I see your point now.
Her kids aren't working. Her son-in-law, well, he's not even a son-in-law, is not working. They're both living with her.
They're in a position right now where it could be precarious, but the good news is I think that baby is well loved and well taken care of.
I agree with that. Which is somewhat like what you were before your mom and I got married.
Yeah.
I mean, she was living with Lee and Judy, and it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And they were doing that. And Lee hated me, but we got over it once we got married. And then I took over their job, but they were still all over loving you, their first grandson.
Because I loved everybody.
You did.
It's kind of weird how parallel it is when you think about it that way.
With
Just that they're living with the grandparents and the first grandbaby.
I never lived with Lee and Judy.
Well, you did. I meant us.
Oh, them's fighting words.
Okay, sorry. I'll
There was
back
a
away.
very big difference because once Eric was born, we got a place. I worked. You listen to all the jobs
yeah.
I had.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always working. I never screwed off. And when I see people that just, like Robert just says, he just quits and he doesn't do anything, I think, how in the hell can you do that?
And I think you love working, and you think working is valuable in and of itself, which, I mean, that's not a criticism in any way, but work is really important to you.
It is. Being productive is very important for me.
Well, work and being productive...
Same thing.
Some people would say it might not be, but
That's very telling right there.
right. I think you and I differ on that a bit.
Well, I don't feel that way so much now that I've retired.
Yeah, but you worked enough for two men during your life. So
I kind of did, but I just felt like it was my job to take care of things, to take care of the financial thing. And if somebody was along for the ride, great, but it didn't matter. I wasn't going to let anybody take care of me. I was going to take care of myself. And whoever I was living with, and whoever I was married to, and whoever I had begat and whoever, whatever. Yeah.
Begat or adopted?
Whatever dogs you had at the time.
Exactly. Yeah,
Freeloading
good
dogs.
Would you let me move in
Yeah.
if you needed to?
I
Jeff?
would. I would.
I know you would.
So
I think
I'm
you
kind
burned
of
your stripes,
afraid to
Kate.
ask this question following our last discussion. But
Uh-oh.
if you had one piece of advice that you felt like you needed to share, what would it be?
Share with who?
I don't know. The world,
With-
posterity.
Grace's kid, if she, who knows, she might not have a kid until she's in her 30s.
Wow. I've got so much advice that I would share that
Spew it.
somebody made
Yeah.
somebody sick.
Okay, give us your top 5 if you can't narrow it down.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
What do you consider small stuff?
Oh, that's a pretty broad topic. I mean, I like people to be honest. Honesty is the most important thing to me, I think. I can overlook a lot of stuff if people are just honest with me. That's all I care about. And I used to say that to clients. I don't care what you did. Just tell me the truth. That's all I want to hear. Just tell me the truth. Because I like to think that I always tell the truth. That there are times in my life when I haven't, but tell the truth and work hard or be productive.
I have one that you used to always say.
What was it?
Do what you say and
Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, if you say you're going to do something, you follow through with it.
Exactly.
Your word has to be
Yep.
your code or honor or whatever.
Yep. That's right at the top. Just don't tell me something you're going to do that you don't do. If you're not going to do it, don't tell me you're going to do it. And I won't tell you I'm going to do something if I don't do it.
It's honesty, right?
Yeah. Well, just being upfront and
Well, and if you don't do it, just say, I fucked up.
yeah,
That's honest.
Admit it. And I've done that. Sure. I've done that a lot. It wasn't for want of trying, but I mean, I have messed up. I messed up a lot of stuff in my life, but I try to be honest about it. I don't try to lie about it. So that's your next question. What have you messed up with in your life?
No, we already asked that one. What about, what of those things came from your parents? Like, what was really important to them versus things that you kind of came to your own realization about?
I don't think your dad would have said that.
No.
Your dad talked out of both sides of his mouth.
He did.
So maybe that's why. You got screwed on the car and you were like, damn it, people need to be honest.
He screwed.
Well, there's
screwed
a
your
lot
mom.
to be said.
And,
Yeah, I think that's true. I admired my dad about a lot of things, but there's some things I didn't admire about him, and that was one of them. Is he just, he thought a lot of times with with his lower half of his body instead of his head, and that's something I don't feel like I've ever done. But my mom, and she was a whole different kettle of fish. she just wanted to make people happy and wanted to love people and wanted, commitment. And she was just
She was a sweetheart.
She was a sweetheart. She was adorable.
So what lessons did you take from your parents?
Well, from my dad, I took, don't screw around on your kids and don't screw around on your wife. Just be upfront and just be a good guy and be a good dad and be a good husband.
Because he wasn't.
Because he wasn't.
But he probably taught you to work hard because it sounds like he was
did.
a hard worker.
That was what he did teach me. And he was there to, I couldn't be where I am today without him. I don't think I would ever have decided to go to law school. I don't know how I could have done it without his help.
Because he loaned you money, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of his pushing you to do it, right?
Well, yeah. because I'd taken this class, and I think I put that in this paper where we had a class Ed Boyko was teaching, and he was my landlord. And Ed Boyko was had been the Attorney General of the state of Alaska, and he's my landlord. And he lives in the other half of the duplex with us.
Okay.
And in the class were a bunch of long-haired hippies and a bunch of cops. That's who was in this class.
And we know where you fell.
Yeah, we knew where I fell. And we had this test. It was the final. There was only one test, and it was the final. So everything was wrapped up in this grade. And so it was kind of a big deal for these cops because they hated the hippies. They hated us.
So they wanted to beat you.
Yes. So Ed, when it came time, our last class, he said, I'm going to hand out the exams with the grades. And he says, I'm going to hand them out from the lowest to the highest.
Oh, brutal.
Whoa, he called everybody out.
And he went on and on and on. I kept thinking, wow, I must have done okay because my name hadn't been called. And I got the highest grade in the class.
Wow.
And these cops looked at me like I was a turd in their lunchbox. Holy crap, because my hair was down to here, you know. But I had worked hard on that. And then he had suggested that I should think about going to law school. And he actually was an adjunct professor at San Diego State Law School. And he suggested that I apply, and I did. I applied at San Diego State, Arizona State, and Gonzaga, because Gonzaga was the closest law school to Anchorage, besides UW, which I didn't really want to go to Seattle. And so I got accepted at San Diego State, and here I didn't get accepted at ASU. And we decided to go here because I was going to turn around and go back to Anchorage once I was done. And you say, oh, well, that worked out. And so that's why I came here. But Ed was the one who really, but it was my dad saying he would help me go to law school that was what really did it, because I told him what I'd done in class, and he said, man, one night when we were at Patty and Bob having dinner, your mom and I and Marcy, he said, you know, that great, you really ought to think about going to law school. I said, yeah, how am I going to do that? I'm driving a cab, you know.
And there are no law schools in Alaska.
And there are no law schools in Alaska, yeah. He said, you know, he says, you ought to think about going, because he says, we're doing well enough with the cab business, and he says, I could, Patty remembers that he said he would give me the money to go to law school. I remember him saying he would loan me the money to go to law school.
So the truth is maybe somewhere in the middle.
Well, he said one or the other, but I didn't ever want to be beholden to Marcy, so I just probably interpreted it to mean I'd borrow it. And so I applied and got accepted, and he loaned me the money, and he came down here.
So he was probably really proud of you when you.
I think he was, yeah, because he always wanted to go to law school. We had a class together in college, where in a poli-sci class, and it was really kind of fun because my dad. It's rare that you go to school with your dad, but everybody in class really enjoyed it because we would oftentimes take the opposite side of one another just to have a good discussion. He'd say something, and I'd raise my hand, and I'd argue against it, and then he'd argue back, and other people get involved. And it was really kind of cool. It was fun. Can you imagine having a class with your father?
No, I can't.
She had a class where I was her teacher.
I can imagine that we would take the opposite sides of arguments, though.
It was pretty fun.
Just for fun. Yeah.
And the teacher would just beam when we do it too. She just loved it because we got everybody motivated. You know, I was really a far left wing guy, and my dad was fairly liberal, but he would take the right wing side.
Yeah, but he became a Randian later in his life.
He did. I know, but He was pretty when he didn't have a lot of money, he was pretty liberal, and then when he got a lot of money, he got conservative. That's
So,
the way it
was
works.
your dad? Was he the kind of guy who would ever say that he was proud of you, like when you graduated law school, or was he very okay?
Oh yeah, he was extremely proud. He came down.
And he would express that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was very. One of the things. This is just a classic. When I was married to Renee, he came to town and he said he'd met Renee and all of this stuff, and he said he'd want to take me to lunch. So we went to lunch, and he said, "I hope you don't take this wrong," but he said, "I really don't like your wife."
How can you take that?
And I said, "Well, that makes us even, because I don't like yours either." And he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, but you could do something about it." and afterwards, we talked a little bit. Afterwards, I thought, you know what? He's right. I can do something about it. So that's when we got a divorce.
Okay, this is a happier family topic.
Okay.
What is your favorite part about the holidays? Or there are any holiday traditions that you enjoy?
The best one I like is just having everybody get together. Because growing up, we were isolated in Alaska, so the only people that came to Christmas were Patty and her family. Because my grandma would come up for once in a while, but I just liked having loads of kids and grandkids and spouses and everybody coming over and celebrating the holidays. That's what I like.
That's a fun
Oh, then we're doing Thanksgiving here.
And Christmas and New Year's and President's Day
And Arbor Day.
Are we at a place where we can maybe take a break? So
Yeah.
Yeah.